Well, hello everyone. I have a special treat today because I wanted to bring my mentor on. This is Reverend Nancy Woods from Center for Spiritual Living, Granada Hills. And I talk a lot about her all the time. And I talk about how she's been through every step of who I am, the struggles, the challenges, the setbacks, the limiting beliefs. This woman is the reason that I am the Sherry Gideons that I am today. And I don't want to start crying because I've been trying to get her to come on with me. Oh my gosh, so many times. But what we really wanted to come on and talk about a little bit today was in the beginning, God and the thing itself. So let me just welcome Reverend Nancy Woods.
And I would like to say hello, and I'm happy to be here because I've had the pleasure of working with Sherry and just seeing the beautiful growth and the progress she's made. She's truly a person that has used the principle and demonstrate how powerful it is about shifting your life. And her life reflects it amazingly, amazingly. Yeah.
Misty, hello, Nancy. She's heard so many things about you. She knows.
Hello, Miss Anna. I know about you too.
Yeah. So Nancy, I mean, you are a science of mind minister, and that all stems from Ernest Holmes. And in the beginning was religious science, and we eventually merged and became Center for Spiritual Living. And so let's talk a little bit about understanding science of mind's view of God.
You know, we call it science of mind's view of God, but what we're talking about is the foundational understanding of spirituality that has come out of not only one religion, but just about every religion that you can think about. And science of mind is kind of a conglomeration of these different philosophies, because one of the things that each and every one has tried to teach us that we all originated out of one thing, that presence, that energy of life itself. And it's not in the concept of it being an entity, but in the concept of it being everything that's in existence. And in this existence is an existence of intelligence. So out of this intelligence has come the expression of life. So when we know that all of us came out of this oneness of life, we realize that this intelligence that is everywhere is actually in everyone. And now that we have progressed from our foundational teachers, we're realizing that that intelligence is available for us to use at all times. It is part of who and what we are. It is what we are. It is what we are expressing. And the more we recognize this, the more we can use it. And it responds. I mean, it's just amazing when I think about that. When they said we are the image of God itself, and what it's saying is that we have been given this gift of creation as an individualized experience because we are that divine presence in expression. So the idea and the understanding is just wonderful. And thank you for letting me say that.
Well, and that's why I've been wanting you to come on with me and us to have these discussions around this topic and really start out from the beginning and to give that understanding to people so they can receive this at the very basic level and understand that everywhere in the universe is one. We are all one. And I wanted to address the idea of no separation. So when we talk about color, when we talk about, white people, black people, this person, that person, literally we are all one in this life, this one life, this spirit, and how when we are having these experiences of not good enough, not worthy, judgment, or any of this idea apart from goodness and wholeness, we are in separation from this life force that has always been there, always will be, and will never leave us. Can you talk a little bit about a little bit more about separation and help people understand that at a science of mind level?
You know, when I think about the human race, I think about that each one of us we have struggled in a lot of ways in time, learning how to use this experience expression of a spirit. We are living in a life of that we created according to our perception of it. Now, our perception that we are experiencing has an imprint from society because we thought we were living from a law of average, and that's how we figure out our psychology, our sociology, and all that stuff. We come from that place of thinking that it's based on something external of our own individualized expression of life. But what we want to gain and to embrace today is that this is coming from a perception that we have created. That perception helps us understand. Ooh, I'm trying to condense something in a few minutes that seems so much bigger. It helps us understand that each one of us has the ability to shift our experience of being. The average person in our society lives according to what society has imprinted upon us. And all of us are still doing it to a certain extent. I mean, these things that we are doing right now are. But as we learn and understand that we have the access to a power greater than our individualized self, and that we can use it to create a different experience. That understanding is something that we as a society are growing into. So as we grow into that, we are working with the idea of letting go of the belief systems that we have lived with our whole lives. Mm-hmm. So for anybody to do that, they have to have a tremendous amount of compassion for themselves, because we have judgments and ideals and concepts that we think are affecting our lives, and we are not able to shift it. But once we start working within, we begin to see how we can shift all these different experiences that we are having. There's a tremendous amount of love that can help us do this, but that love comes from in our own hearts. We are surrounded by this love. This love is everywhere present. And being in touch with this love it frees us from the concept that I need your approval, and I need to be better than you are. I need to be stronger than you are. I need to have a certain amount of wealth. I need to have a certain house. I need to have a certain partner. All these concepts are external, but this inner awareness comes from that one presence that we are talking about. And that presence gives us enough of a sense of being whole or complete within ourselves and allows us to know that we have access to the love of the universe, which is kind of awakened when we begin to learn how to love ourselves and embrace ourselves as who and what we are. And as we do this, we find that the things external of us begin to shift. And those experiences, we begin to attract things that support this idea that we're thinking of. It's such a powerful thing to understand and appreciate, knowing about this oneness. This oneness in a sense that it is so complete within itself that it can create absolutely anything and all things. And to the extent that we can embrace and feel and know and bask in this awareness, our lives will shift. Because this is our truth. This is the truth for all of us. And there's every person in this universe has the ability to shift their lives. And they can shift it in such a way that they can lovingly experience life and not infringe anything upon another being. Anytime that we are infringing upon another being, we have stepped outside of this harmonious energy of essence of who and what we are. And when it's interesting because sometimes we want to blame or judge another person for where they are and what they are doing. But when we learn this presence and what it's about, it would never see anything except the perfection out there, because to the extent that it's able to do that, it's going to experience that from that other being. Mm-hmm. We have to know and understand that that other being brings to us according to the consciousness that we are experiencing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's such a good point because it goes back to the idea when we talk about the thing itself. And so much of that is preconceived ideas that we've been taught around the meaning of God. And we don't realize that it's all objectionable to us, to each of us individually. And so when we begin to understand, that God, what we call God, is really words like creative power, creative intelligence, first cause, spirit, mind, invisible essence, ultimate stuff, intelligence. And so when we come back to this idea that you've been sharing with us, what is it? What is its power? Its power is an awareness that is undescribable to all of us. It comes to the space in each of every one of us where we know that this source is everywhere always, and it's unconditional love. And so you hit on something just a minute ago that I think is very important to bring forward, and that's the word consciousness. What is it?
This basic belief or awareness of who and what we are is where this consciousness takes us. The world is a consciousness. This is consciousness. And this physical body is the result of consciousness. This life around me is the result of consciousness. We are a consciousness. And we become aware that this is who we are and this is how we shift. And it is important to know that this consciousness is the basis of it all as our experience is concerned, because according to what we accept into conscious awareness is how we experience life. And I think that each one of us, each one of us has the ability to bring this into expression individually in such a way that we can gradually utilize this consciousness to shift things in such a way that we develop our relationship in this awareness as such that we know that there's this consciousness. So when we have physical manifestations that seem out of alignment with which way we want to be, it is a matter of us shifting this consciousness to shift this experience. Um, to define consciousness, I'm sitting here thinking, how would I just say it in a few words? We live in consciousness. We are consciousness. Consciousness is how we bring and feel and experience the concept of perception. Consciousness is how we are able to have a shared experience with each other. Consciousness is how we are able to um, um, bring forth a new and expanded way of being. Consciousness allows us um, to communicate in such a way that we are able to allow the person that we are experiencing to be who and where they are, and move with them in such a way that all we bring to them is this sense of love and peace and harmony. Consciousness is how I can see and understand what is going on within me, or feel what is going on within me is more of a reality. Mm-hmm. The feeling that the sense that everything is always working out for us with ease and grace. That consciousness is what gives us this. So you can define it in a few words, but if you look at the whole picture, this is a reflection of how consciousness is in our experience and how it feels, looks, and expresses.
Mm-hmm. That's so true, because consciousness, the first thing that comes up to me when I hear the word consciousness is choice. And because in that awareness for myself, I have gotten clearer and clearer about how this universal presence works, how we are an expression of this universal presence in every single moment. And so as us being a piece of this infinite, of this God, of this wholeness, then that means that every single one of us, every person, community, country, has a consciousness that's expressing in every moment. And so when you come to this place of awareness in yourself individually, then what comes forward is the idea that we can choose to act within that body of thought. And then we can decide if we're going to allow or not allow ourselves to be present in any type of thinking. So are we going to be present in the negativity and somebody else, treating us in a certain way, or us having thinking in a certain direction? Or are we going to, in that very moment, get present in our consciousness, in our choice, to turn away and move in the feeling and the idea and the thinking of what we really want, and then take action in that?
You know what you said is so true, and it's very powerful, because this concept of choice, and I don't know if you remember Thomas Troy is one of the older writers. And one of the things that he taught us is about this choice that concept. And I want to emphasize this because a lot of us are still working off of these concepts of the law of average, and not from the awareness that we do have choice. And so what he does a wonderful job of saying that we are transitioned from the law of average into this world in which we are able to make the choice of how we want to experience life. Um, and it is a lot of substance to what you are saying now, that this choice is where we're going to find our freedom. It's choice, but choice not only gives me freedom, but choice gives me the awareness of how I'm going to relate to another being. Choice offers me the freedom to understand and appreciate that according to the choices I make, that's how I'm going to experience another being. Because sometimes it feels comfortable to blame.
Right.
But blame comes from the law of average. It feels comfortable sometimes to waddle in our idea of something being the victim. I call it the victim type of thinking. But we do not have to be in a victim mode to understand and appreciate another person. But we can be in a freedom mode and really appreciate that another person is working their way through the idea of being a victim. And my part in that is to continue to see the divine within myself, because when I look within and I experience the divine, I really, in my heart, begin to know that that is true about the other person, and that this presence is everywhere. This is a choice universe. I mean, we choosing to know that. But I don't know if you noticed, but I think that there's choice. But I think that there is a little bit something beyond choice. Now, and this is something that I'm working with, but so it may be a little bit out there. When I say out there, a little bit on the cutting edge of being. We are in. It's the clarity of understanding that spirit is all that there is. The understanding that this oneness of universe is, and the basic characteristics of it, and who and what it is what I am. Therefore, I, as an individual, am able to move and flow through life in a harmonious, loving way. And that there is that intelligence within every cell, every aspect of my being that can create an atmosphere around me, that is creating an atmosphere around me where that is supported and nurtured. And those things that come up as my heart's desires are fulfilled by this universal presence, secondary to me knowing and understand what this universal presence is bringing, what it is about, what is its basic foundation of it. And you know, Troy and a few other people tried to tell us years ago that this presence was harmonious. This energy was everywhere present, moving with ease and grace. It's harmonious not because it make itself like people. It's harmonious because it's the only thing that there is.
Yep.
It's loving because it's the energy by which it brings forth more and greater and expansion. It is beauty because it is able to bring forth a greater and more expanded experience of life. Um, it is it is a light in the sense that it is able to not necessarily. I give the example. It doesn't knock fight darkness. It just shows up and darkness dissipates.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how the universal presence moves. And to the extent that I become more aware of that, that is how I experience being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my heart's desires are being clarified more and more away from how I have been programmed to think what they are,
Right.
and into the understanding that the basic foundation of what I'm reaching for is already present.
Mm-hmm.
The greater good of life and the constant newness of being is already present, and it is the natural outcome of this presence of who and what I am.
Mm-hmm.
So settling into that kind of takes you to sit back and look at how you are making these so-called choices.
Mm-hmm.
And so you learning to be, and in being, life unfoldment is a constant set of newness, a constant sense of beauty, a constant expression of joy,
Mm-hmm.
a constant expression of peace. So this is the foundation of understanding that is coming out of the awareness itself. And like I find it amazing how much of science and physics has come together in teaching us that this presence is everywhere. It's everywhere in this universe. Um, they are proving it more and more. And the foundation of what everything is, if I break it down, there is nothing that is not the same when you break it down to a certain level.
Yeah,
It's
so
all one.
share that for a second, because that's the thing that I think that a lot of people, with what's happening with the COVID-19, and we've all been pulled inward. We've all been pulled to look at what is going on inside of ourselves, and to understand that the universe that we live in basically is user friendly, and that we can use it rightly by understanding and knowing the universal truths. And that's one of the things, that a lot of people will say to me. So, what do you mean about universal truths? What are these universal truths? And it kind of takes me back to that idea, around the seed and the grain. And it's that old story about in the springtime of the year when the farmer sows his grain. What that means is in the beginning, and before his crop is created, it's created by the laws of nature. And in the beginning then means by springtime of causation, and before anything is created. So, and you and I know this, but speak a little bit about the universal truths so that people can have a better understanding as to how they're creating these certain experiences and environments for themselves.
Hmm. say that what we're everything that we've been talking about is about creating our own experience.
Yes.
But I want to say that more than ever, I have realized that humankind is growing in how they are experiencing and expressing life, and how it has come to this place and this experience, like the COVID-19 and a lot of the issues that are going on today. One of the reasons why it is so significant that we step back and look at it. Life happens for us.
Mm-hmm.
So this experience um, is a result of the general. Some of it is from our judgment. Some of it is from our desires of reaching and trying to create from a particular place in awareness. A lot of the things that are going on are the result of how we have been thinking up until now. For us to separate out and think it is one potential culture or avenue through which this came about is not necessarily. It's not only not productive, but it is against the laws of being and physics. We are experiencing the result of our own belief system and thinking. Um, I think that the laws of the universe and the laws of physics, the quantum physics, has broke things down in such a way that they have shown how things are created and how a thought pattern is formed, and therefore a thing is manifested. So what we are experiencing, and it doesn't matter whether you're the person that's angry or you the person that is suffering. You all both are experiencing a part of the conscious and the belief system that you have immersed yourself in. And there are none of us that I know in existence that are totally free from this. And you and I are both would acknowledge that even though we are aware that we are experiencing it, we have not developed our spiritual alignment to the point where we don't. We're not walking on water yet. Uh, in other words, we are experiencing the result of the consciousness, but the oneness of life has to be taken into consideration when we see another person having an experience that is less than, or we see another person having an experience that's greater than. So when we say less than and greater than, we are in some ways denying the basic foundation of who and what we are for everybody else. And I'm saying that even though I am very aware that there are people that have been working with their consciousness so they have a different experience in life. But anytime another experience causes you any kind of discomfort, and you have to look at what's going on inside of you, because usually that's a reflection of your own issues. Um, I have worked with people enough to know that as if you don't have a foundation of understanding of this concept of perception and in life, you will have a tendency to um, buy into guilt and blame, so that you will not have a harmonious experience in life. You need to actually uh, 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 take a look on the inside. And that's why I like this COVID-19, because I think it's given a lot of people a chance to actually look inside and to look and to sense that feeling.
We
But
have a
we have to.
here. So Pamela's bringing a really good comment, or information forward that you've been talking about. She says, I was thinking about this exact thing this morning. What if we can awaken to the reality that we all want to be treated with respect as children of God, and that our perceptions that we are different or disagree are part of the illusion that has been created that keeps us from creating what we really want?
Amen. Yes.
Me too. I said that
Amen.
too.
Yes. Yes. And we, it's also one of the things that you have to look at. I think it's Alan Watts. I think that's him. No, Waddles is the guy that wrote that book.
Wallace Waddles, isn't it?
Yeah, Wallace Waddles, when he said that what we have to do is that we have to continue to work with the idea of understanding and appreciating the consciousness that we are one, the oneness and the wholeness, and that we're all part of this whole thing, and that we have to practice it to the extent where we are getting stronger and stronger in this understanding. Meanwhile, we have to realize that the people out there that are living from these law of averages are holding things together, while people like ourselves are working and making this so strong that it can become a general concept of understanding. So it's almost like we got to appreciate all of us. We got to appreciate every aspect of mankind and its being. And sometimes I want to not do that. I want to tell people, just come on. But it's true. I know that mankind is moving in that direction. He's moving in that direction where we understand and appreciate. Humankind is moving in that direction where we appreciate and understand that we all have the ability to create our experience, and that divine presence is everywhere. But it's the ones that are living it and knowing it and expressing it and sharing it that are helping create a different experience of being for all.
Mm-hmm. Pam said that gave her chills. She says it's easy to get impatient.
Yeah. Everybody is on a path, and they're all in path. And we really want our society to just get it together and stop it. But you got to believe that they are on the path. That's part of what our role is, to understand that everybody is on that path, and that everybody has that strength, and that this infinite intelligence, if we're saying that God is in all and as all, we got to believe he's in all and that, and no matter who that person is, whether it's the homeless person, or whether it's the person in the White House, whether it's the person that is living up in the high riser, or whether it's the person that's living down in the street experience, or whether it's the farmer that's out there farming, or the executive in an office. We have to know and understand that God is all of these persons, people in expression. And to the extent that we can embrace this idea, is to the extent I feel personally that we can get everybody to understand that that foundation thing that we're reaching for, that joy, that peace, that love, and that harmony is available. It's available to everybody. And that if we can understand, if we can live it, not only teach this, share this, but live it from a place of awareness in which every soul begins to be touched with this understanding. And I think that that is available to us today greater than it ever been before. We are on the brink of this understanding of the basic qualities of being we have access to within ourselves. That understanding. We're on the brink of society looking at it. And the glorious idea of when everybody starts looking for that within themselves. I mean, can you, oh my God, can you imagine? And the thing about that is not that things are going to stop being created because uh, spirit itself is about constant newness. So that means the creation is going to be being expanded by every being in existence. That, I mean, the world that we can experience at that level where everybody is creating newness and creating the beauty and the love and the joy of life. Oh, the things that will come forth into expression is just almost unimaginable, but imaginable. It's almost unimaginable, but imaginable.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm excited.
It makes me think of that conversation that we've been having recently well, even before the COVID-19 happened. And that was around, one of the things that you've always pushed me to do was to get on the pillow, to get silent, to not have to talk to people, to not have to be going and seeking to be filled up by the world, but to literally get on the pillow and be silent. And, because a lot of it goes back to this concept that we were talking about earlier around how we bring this consciousness forward in families and how we recreate this historical way of being and these historical limitations. And then finally, we get to this place in ourselves where we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we realize that so much of this is going to come forward for us from silence and quiet time.
Meditation has been one of those tools of seeking and knowing, and I it's been a joy to watch how you utilize it. Coming to the understanding that meditating and being quiet gives us an opportunity to tune in to that which is in us. And it's everywhere present and it's always working. But it's much more available to us through the process in which we can be still and know that we are the power of the universe in expression. And one of the things that COVID-19 is it takes away a lot of the infringing on our lives so that we do have some time to do that. It seems uncomfortable when we first started doing it because I can remember back when it first started, it was like all I ever heard was what I should do. In my head when I was being quiet was what I should do and the things I should do. And a lot of times it starts like that, but it's like a musician that starts out and he can only play so many tunes, but as he develops his skills, it becomes much more expansive in being. And meditation is kind of like that. You learn that there is so many creative skills there. I remember I saw this movie by James Brown once, and he was playing, they were all playing this tune, and he suggested they do a certain step in this tune. And the guy said, and one guy was a musician, he said, that's not musically correct. And he said, we're not here to be musically correct. We're here to expand our ability to hear the sound. and he created things out of that energy. Well, there are a lot of people that have tuned in to themselves and found these gifts of understanding and awareness, and it's everywhere. So I think it's just fascinating to step into that awareness. And everybody has it. Everybody. Everybody has this ability.
Mhm, mhm.
And I'm very grateful that it has. And in meditation, if we use it, and even if we can sit and be quiet for 2 minutes, maybe, and eventually we can make five. It's like doing an exercise when you first start, uh, and then you get better and better and better and better. And so meditation kind of does that to you. There's another component to that that I watched you develop that I thought was so powerful, was realizing that the current moment is the most powerful moment that there is, and it's the only moment. And watching you step into that awareness was kind of like fun because you began to demonstrate so much more harmony and peace because you did that. Yeah, and then we begin to see that what we are and what we can do.
Mhm. And the beauty of that for me with you is that you always encouraged me to use my point of power in the moment, and to not always put all of my attention and energy and focus on the appearance that was in front of me, because most of the time what was in front of me was being revealed to me to be healed. And so you always helped me to really be present in the moment and to not give whatever that was, if it wasn't serving me, power. To really
Mhm.
look at it from an observing standpoint as the observer, and then ask it, do you serve me or do you not serve me? And if you don't serve me, then we would go into what we call affirmative prayer. We literally declare our oneness with source, embody our oneness as one, that was in us, through us, as us. And then we go and declare the truth. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that, about affirmative prayer, because you and I, we utilize that practice. And that practice is very powerful. And I've taught a lot of people affirmative prayer in my lives and stuff. And I wanted people to hear about affirmative prayer from you today.
Oh, and that's an interesting concept because you know what? I usually start with people and say that you actually have to realize is that what you're experiencing in this current moment is historical thought. Your life is you're living from a place of historical thought, and that and if you want to shift and have something new come forth, it is starting with your declaration of thought and your belief system. And to understand that this infinite intelligence that we are coming from is wherever all of this stuff is created, that we are living in a place of where everything is like an unformed substance in the universe. And the thought and understanding and belief system that we have has brought us to this place of experience. So if I know this and understand this, and I know that where this thing of being is activated with the word and understanding that I place into it, because it's an unformed substance. So my word becomes the mold on which I am creating the newness of the universe. So the word that I can place into this unformed substance can formulate a pattern of understanding and awareness that would take me into a different way of experiencing life. So this is what we're doing with treatment. So that's why we start with the idea that this presence that is everywhere has the ability and intelligence and the creativity to bring forth anything and all things. And so, since we know this and we have access to this, we can formulate the words and understanding and awareness. And that, and this, there's this, the law of the universe, and we call it the law of attraction. will automatically fill these molds. And so it becomes a living experience for us. So we have this sometimes like we're reaching out there with the prayer, but no, we are creating the newness with the word that we speak and express. We are able to create a different life for ourselves, a different experience for someone else, a different experience of being just by creating a mold in which this unformed substance of the universe that is forever bringing newness into expression. And that's what's so exciting to
Yeah.
understand that that is what we are doing.
That's it. That's it. And that's why I love being a practitioner and coming into power, utilizing our power in oneness, one spiritual nation. It keeps coming forward to me over and over and over again. Just like what you said earlier about Pam and myself and these other people, is we come together in this place of awareness, in this place of consciousness, and we start to utilize these tools in a way, we will activate just in everybody else what they are seeking in themselves, and they will be drawn into this awareness and this truth. And now using this affirmative prayer, a treatment, as a way, as you said, to literally speak into the mold and to be able to bring that into form. And like you've always said to me, in infinite avenues, channels, and opportunities for greater and grander expression beyond what you could ever fathom, because the how is none of your business. It's about
the law of the universe will bring it to you. Yes. Yeah. It's powerful. It's powerful.
It's powerful. So how about let's leave our audience today with a treatment and show them just how it works, and speak a treatment into being right here and right now for our listeners and our replay listeners and everyone globally, worldwide.
So it really is. I appreciate this opportunity, because as I know this and understand this, I know that the infinite intelligence of the universe has given us this opportunity to know a greater expression of truth. And so we know we can start in this moment and understand and recognizing that this divine presence, this all-knowing power, this one mind, one creative expression of being has come into expression in, through, and as each and every one of us as an individualized manifestation of the whole. And as we know this and understand this, we can claim and embrace the idea that each one of us knows and understands the greater good that is in our heart. And we allow that greater good of our heart to infect our brain with its presence. And that good is a good of wholeness, a good of lovingness, a good of kindness, a good of abundance and prosperity, a good of harmony, in which we are able to blend our lives with the idea and understanding that each and everything around us is the beauty of the universe saying yes to life. And as we do this, we do it in such a way that we say, thank you, we appreciate it, we embrace it, we understand it, we are allowing it to be a wondrous presence in our experience. And as we let go and let it happen, we know that it is manifesting with ease and grace. So we can say yes. And we know it already is so, because there's a law that says yes to the word that has been spoken, and it is now into it. And together we let it be, as we say.
And so
it is.
Oh my God. Woo! Was that powerful? I had every chill running through my body. Woo! I had the yes happening all over. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Nancy, for coming forward with me today to share some of these greater truths with people. And that's what I want to do. I'm calling you out, Reverend Nancy Woods. I've been calling you out for a long time now. I mean, as my mentor, as my mother, as my greatest friend. And I think that it's time. People are hungry to hear more about these universal truths and how they can use them in their lives, how they can use them as individuals and for the greater good for humanity. So we got to do this more often.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. You know, I love to talk about spirit. I mean, I talk your ear off about it anyway. So,
well, of course, that's why you've been my mentor for going on 20 years now. I mean, my God, like I said, I'm the woman I am because of the beautiful, loving, nurturing you, and I'm very grateful for you as always.
All right. I love sharing it with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. Pam says thank you. She's so glad that you finally came on. Oh, I've been telling her this forever. We need to have you on Nation and on Expanded Woman. We need to have you on both platforms because you really, really do need to bring this forward.
Thank you for letting me share it.
All right. I love you, Nance.
I love you too, honey.
Thank
Bye.
you all. Bye-bye.